Because like my content is only better because a brother told me, "Hey man, you mad corny." I mean, I get what you're saying, but I can't relate to you. Oshay said that, and I was like, But I had to be humble enough to check my ego and say, well, shit, how do I do this better? I tried this. It didn't work. I said, man, Stan, screw YouTube. I was like, all right, try something, it didn't work. Try this, it did work. Oh, it's working now. Don't get comfortable. Keep pushing. Because now this is a hot sector of media. You need your wolf pack, your gauntlet. The guys I have around me, I call them either my wolf pack or my gauntlet. I have men around me that I respect enough to substitute their judgment for my own. And it goes something like this. And when I think I'm the most right is when I'm the most in danger. Because when I think I'm right, I am certain. I am certain. And if you look at movies like Crimson Tide, where you have Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington, you had two guys who believed they were right. Ultimately, only one can be right. Well, if Gene Hackman had been right, we'd have been at war. Turns out that Denzel was right. When you will know you're right, especially if you have my mindset, you need somebody who you trust who can see your blind spots, because when you know you're right, you can get tunnel vision. You lock on. And that's a good thing if it's in the right direction. But if you have people around you and say, all right, Anton, and it starts like this. You give them permission to tell you the unvarnished, unedited, uncut funk. Mm-hmm. You trust them enough to give it to you. And I say, all right. And I would say, all right, level set me on this. This is what I'm doing. This is what I see. A, B, C, D. What do you think? And if one person in my gauntlet says, nah, fam, or I see this, I have to take that under consideration. And oftentimes I'll actually alter or scrap it completely. And I give it.
And with that being said, man, a wise man seeks counsel. You know, unless you're a dictator or you're on that level where you feel like you're above reproach. What he's saying is spot on. You can't have a bunch of yes men around you. You need to have someone that is able to check you. And this, if a lot more people, especially higher profile people, celebrities, really had someone like that, because you tend to have people who surround themselves with yes men or basically always tell them what they want to hear. That's why they never progress. And in this case, it's what Kevin was saying. You know, this is how his progression came about. And this is how he's continued to progress, because he does have people there to check him. And that, in my opinion, is invaluable.
Example, the beautiful mind. Russell Crowe is sitting there at the bar, and they got all those beautiful women, and the guys are all trying to get with the women to get laid. And he starts thinking of Adam Smith, and he said Adam Smith's premise that everyone is best served everyone in the group is best served when everyone does what's best for self. And there are the group benefits. And in that one scenario, he challenged that premise himself. And he came up with everyone is best served when everyone does what's best for themselves and the group. Now, John Nash's breakthrough is at the basis of a lot of bargaining problems that run Wall Street to this day. It's not always about an either or situation. It's about an and situation. And having an and mindset opens you up to a lot of possibilities, but you gotta have people around you. Success is shared, and money making is a social activity. One of the ways we remain at the bottom as black men is we try to be the damn Highlander, do it all by ourselves. But we revere things like the Greenwood District in Tulsa. That was success shared. That was black dollars circulating in a black economy, compounding on each other. Anton, I know he talks about finance. I was so pissed that I didn't learn the rule of 72 until my 30s, that people never really talked about compounding the way they need to talk about it. That we didn't talk about money like our friends, I hate to say the word on YouTube because they ding it. But when you got kids going to finance camp at 6, in Judaism, money money making and running business is tied heavily into the worship. But in the Black community, we ain't supposed to talk about money. Mm-hmm. It's dirty. It's negative. We got a negative money blueprint. And the ones of us that got it, we have learned negative traits because we don't necessarily know how to use it and go on the offense. Or the better the men.
And that's connected with the Black church as well, because you have this prosperity doctrine a lot of times, but within this prosperity, a lot of times you are supposed to suffer here on earth, and money is looked at as only some elite person can have it, and it's not for Black people to have it. And if you did get it, you got it through nefarious ways, or Illuminati, or devil worship, or you was kissing somebody's behind to get it. When, like he said, you have these other demographics who basically are taught at a young age about banking, financing, and things like that, which we're so far behind. For those of you who know me, you know I'm in the finance industry, the credit industry, and you'd be surprised. 99% of my clients are Black, but you'd be surprised, people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even the 20s. It's like the knowledge isn't there, and you want to say, well, whose fault is it? Is it the school system? Is it the parents? Is it, because we all have a sovereign mind. We all have a sovereign will to use it. So ultimately, if you weren't taught certain things, is it upon you to learn it and teach your kids? Or are you waiting for an external savior to teach you these things? You know what I mean? So this is something that we need to think about. Like this demographic that he mentioned, that he didn't want to get dinged for, they all, they teach they teach their people to get a life insurance policy, a 7-figure life insurance policy. That way, when you do pass away, this is an inheritance. This is a nest egg for your family. But the more I encounter that with, having conversations with my people, it's not really a thing. And you have these GoFundMes and all these other things, or the burden is left upon some relatives you haven't talked to in a while. So it's just one of those things that definitely needs to, success, this knowledge, instead of competing. People talk about crabs in the barrel. I can go on and on. But let's let Kevin finish.
And work together to generate some trust, to have our own gauntlets, till we understand how money really works. Man.
You know what? There's a myth. I think there's a myth, right? In that I heard someone say, and I won't say their name, but I heard someone say to me, to a larger extent, that talk about money. And I've challenged that because I find that, throughout my journey, that they absolutely want to talk about money, right? But the thing that I try to do first, well, not even try to do, that I do, is that I pour into people first. And what I find is that I get it back times 100. I mean, a lot of times I coach guys, or I give them the game, or I'll take a young guy under my wing for free. And then I had a young guy's dad literally cash at me almost $1,000 just for me pouring into his son, and his son changing his mindset because he needed a different voice in his life, and that repetitive voice that was from his father, he had kind of tuned it out. But I find that a lot of our people are starving for better content. They're starving for, even if they push back initially, they're starving for voices that actually add value into their life. I see that with you also, in the trajectory that you're on, and that it seemed like you got a lot of pushback initially, but people are starting to get on board. Do you think that people are actually yearning for the content that you're putting out, but that it was so foreign to them initially that they rejected it, but now that they see that it's working in so many different ways, that they're starting to embrace it and adopt it, regardless of whether or not they like who's saying it or not?
I think we're looking for a solution. We realize that our culture is broken. We don't know how we got here, and it's too big of a problem for any one person to fix it. What's happening is we're actually looking internally to fix things instead of looking to other reasons. We're getting rid of the reasons that are structural. There will always be an ism and an atheist. There's always going to be racism and prejudice. You just make yourself strong enough to where it doesn't affect you. That's why I say our Jewish friends, mess with them if you want to. Anti-Defamation League got something for you. You make yourself strong enough to where it doesn't bother you. And I think that brother didn't want to, let's round it all the way back. When that brother said black women are my enemy, that was coming from a place of hurt. Nobody wants to think that your reflection is your enemy. But if it just feels a certain way, and unfortunately, as men, we got to get beyond the feel and realize that, are we the men we individually hoped we would be? If not, then do work. Are few of the men you hoped you would be? Are you surrounded with the men you hoped you'd be surrounded by? And are you producing those men? If not, do work. And I always start with the men. When men are doing work, showing work, leading, scrapping, because like my content is only better because a brother told me, hey man, you mad corny. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I can't relate to you. Oshay said that. And I was like, But I had to be humble enough to check my ego and say, well, shit, how do I do this better? I tried this. It didn't work. I said, man, Stan, screw you too. I was like, all right. Try something that didn't work. Try this, it did work. Oh, it's working now. Don't get comfortable. Keep pushing. Because now this is a hot sector of media right now, and we're just getting started. This is what I think millennials, late millennials, Gen Z is going to be our legacy that we leave behind. We're patching up the hole in the Titanic.
So guys, that was very powerful what Kevin just said. I just want to give you guys a little background on what he said about Oshay, which I find it to be very important for you guys to really, capture that. Kevin, like Oshay, to me, Oshay is my mentor. You guys can take that how you want to take it. Oshay basically gives everyone a shot in the manosphere. You can be an unknown. When I first reached out to Oshay, I don't think I had really any subscribers. And I asked him, I came across his channel by searching for some stuff that I was going through at the time. And I saw a video, and when I watched the video, it made so much sense. So that started my journey with the whole red pill situation. But when I reached out to him about doing a hangout, I think Oshay had like 30-something thousand subs at the time, if that. And he put me on his show to do a hangout. I'm a nobody. I was an unknown. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of other guys I have seen come and go. Not come and go, but they've come and go, or some guys have blown up and things like that. And I remember Kevin Samuels coming on the scene, under Oshay, and Kevin was nothing like he is now. The whole Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget, Godfather, metrosexual, pseudo-metrosexual thing he's got going on. It works. He was able to package that and what it is and present it to the masses where it was accepted. And with that one viral moment, things that we've been talking about for years and doing videos on, he was able to capture it and bottle that lightning and disperse it. And now everybody knows about it. And it's so shocking to a lot of women. You know what I'm saying? But it's so important to have, the success that comes about, and you're able to change and get motivation and someone to tell you. For Oshay to tell him that, like, O'Shea's a very intelligent dude. So for him to tell him, like, yo, your presentation, and for you to switch it up, and some people will take offense to it and be like, man, you may be hating or whatever, but, he gave him the battery in his back, gave him that motivation to switch his thing up. I talked to Oshay maybe like, I think a few months ago about my channel, you know what I'm saying? Because it was frustrating me trying to do videos, and I'm like, okay, what am I doing wrong? And this dude, 100 and something thousand, 150,000, still took the time, and I paid him to let me know what's up. Don't you know he refunded me my money and was like, yo, I'm not gonna charge you. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. Or whatever, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you know, because I'm not a funny person. I don't have the highest energy and things like that. But he said to me, you know, he didn't necessarily tell me what I needed to, you know, switch up or anything corny, but he was like, yo, you need to do this. And I said, yo, I don't have like one of those personalities or whatever. I'm not a funny dude. He was like, that's cool. He mentioned like another YouTuber who's like is huge. And he's like, this is all he does. And you got way more personality than him. You know what I'm saying? He just said that. And it's not knocking anybody. I'm not being pretentious or anything. I was just asking him for advice. But that's something that he told me. You know what I mean? And he didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Oshay. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. You know, you never know when somebody's telling you something, what could alter your mindset to change, to switch your style up or whatever that causes you to blow up. And that's just what, by Oshay telling him he was corny, he switched his style up from what he had going on previously and was able to capture it, which led him, you know, was the catalyst to lead him to where he's at now. So kudos to him. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. Peace.